How's it going, everybody? This is the Steve Long Show. I'd like to welcome you to my first episode of my new podcast. It's good to have you all with me, and I want to give you basically the rundown of what my show, just what it will be about. Now, I like to talk a lot of politics, and quite frankly, we got a lot going on right now in this country, and the Steve Long Show is going to really dissect everything that's going on in the American political scene currently, from everything from the impeachment to the election. Now, what I can tell you is that we need to really focus as Americans to not let this impeachment get us down. I think that President Donald J. Trump is going to be just fine after the end of all this. And let your hearts not be troubled. So we just had the vote for the Impeachment Inquiry, and it looks like, I believe it was 230 votes the Democrats had. You had two people vote nay in the whole Democrat Party, and one person voted, or was it a no vote? And it just shows you how partisan this whole thing is. This is all one party getting down and dirty when it comes to this situation, and they're essentially saying, in my opinion, F you to the American people. They're not going to let us have a choice. They don't want to give us a choice. This is their way of saying, you guys made the wrong decision, and we're going to make this decision for you, whether you like it or not, and we're unwilling to wait for 2020, and we're not willing to let you have a chance then either. So from the beginning of Donald J. Trump's administration, they have had one big, giant temper tantrum, and they have held the American people hostage as a result. And you think of all of the success that this president has had, and it has all been despite the Democrats' destructive attitude. So if we want to take our country back, people in these districts are going to need to start calling their congressmen, and they're going to have to start letting them know that this impeachment stuff needs to end. And in all reality, the president is going to benefit from this, and these people are going to lose their seats. The ones that are in districts where it's kind of in the middle, because there's a lot of districts where Donald Trump won, and these people also got into office. Democrats that won in districts that Donald Trump won. So this is something for them to think about, and they're really stepping in it. At this point, it's too late for them to kind of just stop. They've come so far. They had to have the vote because they knew what they were doing looked shady to the American people, and the Republicans, when they went down and brought 30 people down into the basement to try and open it up, they knew it was shady. So they had to have an open and transparent proceeding. And what will come of it? I don't think really much will come of it. At the end of this, we won't see very much. Will we even see them vote on impeachment? Because, folks, I got news for you. For those who don't really understand what's going on here, is that these people, they didn't vote for anything. They voted to keep doing what they're doing and have it be more of a professional looking deal. But it's still, a partisan hack job where they're trying to destroy the President of the United States of America. And they must be exposed. And the Republicans need to be tougher. We don't see them do enough. We don't see Lindsey Graham doing enough. Lindsey Graham, he likes to blow a lot of smoke, but he doesn't really do anything at the end of the day. Matt Gaetz filed a formal complaint on Adam Schiff, an ethics complaint. What does all this do? When I hear someone like Dinesh D'Souza talk about how we need to start fighting dirty, I don't see when any Republicans kind of get into the trenches with them. They're not fighting back. Going down into the basement, 30 of them, in my opinion, that doesn't do much. So we need something done. We need something more substantive. We need these people to actually go after Democrats in ways that we have not seen before. We have not seen from Republicans. Now, I'm not talking about doing the dirty things that Democrats do, where you claim someone raped someone 30 years ago. That's not the kind of stuff I'm talking about. But what I'm talking about is really getting people on something that's substantive, something that's real, true. Not passing up an opportunity. I mean, I'm saying, like, I'll give you an example. They were asking Matt Gaetz about this Congressman Hill, Rep. Hill, who was having the trouble, or whatever it was called, the threesome relationship, and they asked him point blank about it, and he said, I'm not here to talk about her, but if it would have been him, she'd be all over him. So we really need to focus on, when this lady, good thing she did resign, but it's just, it was a missed opportunity for him, and he should have taken that opportunity. I mean, the woman smoking a bong and having sex with a male and a female at the same time, they're staffers. What are we talking about here? What are we talking about? So, bottom line is the Republican Party really needs to get things together. And they're not going to go much of anywhere in 2020 if they can't grow a pair. Donald J. Trump cannot be the only one with a pair in the party if they are to succeed. We need something more to go after Adam Schiff than a complaint, an ethics complaint. So where do I see all of this land? I don't see any of it going anywhere. But I do see this potentially hurting the president if the Republicans don't stick together and fight back. Because we all know they have a tendency to not have spine. And that tendency comes creeping up when they get beat up on long enough. So they might band together and say, let's dump the president at a certain point. So we need people more than just Matt Gaetz, more than just Lee Zeldin, more than just Jim Jordan. We need more than that to stand up. We need all of them. Every single one of them has to come and be ready to fight. But most of them are cowards. I'm sorry to say, but you might be from a district where you have someone in office, you might say, now that's a good guy. But I'll tell you what, that guy is worthless. We have so many of them in Congress that are not really there to represent us. They're representing whoever, got them into office. And Donald Trump is one of those people who actually is representing us, the American people, the ordinary, everyday, blue-collar worker, white-collar worker, whoever you may be. He represents you. He's not someone who's bought and paid for. He's not someone who's owned by corporations. So people really need to call up, regardless if your congressman or woman is a Republican or a Democrat, call them either way. Call the Republican. Tell them they better have a spine and they better start fighting for what we need. They need to defend the president at all costs. Call your Democrat congressperson and tell them. Even pretend you're a Democrat. Hell, maybe you might be, but tell them this is not good for the country. Certainly is not good. Certainly is not good for the country, and to think what will we get out of just constantly going after our president? How can you constantly go after the president day in and day out? Just accept the loss. But see, what has happened with the Democrat Party is they have succumbed to a disease, and that disease is socialism, radicalism. I hate to say it, but the Democrat Party is compromised. It is compromised by enemies within. And what I mean by enemies, people who see the idea of what being an American is about and are with their whole being against all of it. I don't mean enemies as go grab a gun. I'm not saying that. Nothing like that. No, what I mean is that they hate everything America is about, and they are willing to destroy everything America is about. They don't care. They don't believe in freedom. They don't even believe in the First Amendment anymore. They want to have hate speech laws. These people have taken over the Democrat Party, and they're holding people like Nancy Pelosi hostage. All of it. They've taken over the whole thing. We would not be in an impeachment inquiry right now if these people did not take over the party. When you have, the platform of the Democrat Party is all socialism. All of it. You couldn't even written this kind of stuff 10 years ago. I mean, we all were saying they were socialists 10 years ago, but I wouldn't have imagined they'd have health care for all. Well, that was something that was talked about, but plus free college, everyone would have laughed you out of the room if you talked about having free college. That's not even the most radical stuff they have going on right now. I mean, what's even more radical is abolishing ICE. You want to abolish ICE? This is the thing, is they don't want to say that they're open border. They don't want to say, so you say that person's for open borders, and then, all the people who support that person say, he's not for open borders, she's not for open borders. Where in her policy does it say, well, let me get this straight. You do not want to secure the border. You do not want to kick out illegal immigrants. You do not want to deport illegal immigrants. What do you want? It leaves you with no other conclusion than they want open borders. You don't want to detain and separate children from their parents. I don't want any of that either. Why can't? Well, and you got to think Donald J. Trump, again, because he was able to get, I forget exactly what it's called, but when you are a refugee now, you have to apply for refugee status in the country before. You can't just come straight to it. If I was in Guatemala and I had to pass through Mexico, I couldn't come to the United States and claim asylum. I would have to claim asylum in Mexico. And this is paramount. This is everything. Because despite what a lot of people think, it's not so much people coming from Mexico anymore. It's just people coming from Central America and even parts of South America. And to have people be able to seek refuge in other countries is going to be huge for us. Because then we won't have so many people in these detention facilities at the border, or as AOC might want to call them, concentration camps. No, we won't have that anymore. Sure, we will have people still, but I'm saying it will be a lot less people down at the border. But you look at what they want to do, is that they just don't want things to function properly. They want to have a breakdown at the border. They want to let everyone come in. We can't let these people ever be in charge again. They're in charge of the House, which is bad enough right now. But we have to do something to get them out of power in the House. And we have to, Nancy Pelosi, her days need to be over as Speaker of the House. Maybe she can go retire after this. But, we need to really organize the best we can. We have 1 year to do it. And we have to go out. And we have to go, door to door, whatever you got to do. We have to get everyone to vote for Republicans. Because even if, some of these Republicans aren't even, they're garbage too. But they're not calling for open borders. You know what their problem is? They're not willing to fix things either. And that's the problem with why we still have this illegal immigration problem, is that Republicans were unwilling to deal with it, as well as Democrats. For Democrats, it meant votes. For Republicans, it meant cheap labor. And this cheap labor, and you have to hand it to the president, because if the president did not come along, we would be right where we were before. Even if not that worse, we would have, given asylum to all these people, or not asylum, I'm sorry, they would have given citizenship to all these people, and it just would have ended the Republican Party as we knew it. And that's probably going to happen. Because even the president was willing to give the Dreamers, he was willing to give the Dreamers citizenship, which is a lot of people, and that would have put them, over. That would have put them over the edge for the Democrats, and I don't believe anyone who came in here illegally should ever be granted amnesty. Ronald Reagan made that failure. That was his great failure, was amnesty. And then because of that, we have had hordes and hordes of people come over the border for decades. And we're at a point where we can't tolerate anymore. We've taken on so many people. And we can't grant amnesty because the same thing will happen. More and more people will come across that border. Every time you want to grant amnesty, more and more people. Hell, they'll be coming from Argentina if we do it this time, We already got them coming down from not Costa Rica, but Nicaragua, around the Panama area. They say a lot of people came from Venezuela now. It's gotta end. Enough is enough. And going back to what I was saying is that the Democrats, on so many different levels, they are extremely un-American. They don't seem to believe in sovereignty anymore. They say nationalism is racism. I'm sorry, but we do not live in the EU. We have borders. And that is not a racist thing. We are a country made up of all different kinds of people. We are just about the most diverse country on this planet. This is about the only country on this planet where people have been able to, relatively to get along in the same country. Yes, we've had our problems, right? But if you look at other countries in the world, throughout the world, people with slight ethnic differences have completely wiped each other out. Just look at what happened in Rwanda. You had the Hutus and the Tutsis. Slight differences, and one wiped the other out. 800,000 people killed in a matter of 3 weeks. So, to those who think our country is so racially divided, our country is in such horrible shape, I got news for you. This is the only place on earth where people from all different backgrounds have been able to live for centuries together. Now, is everything squeaky clean past? No, it's not. But why do Democrats need to focus only on the bad things about our past? I don't believe in, brushing past it, pretending it didn't happen. Things happen, okay? But do they need to be focused on every single day? And do we need to say that our country is defined only by those things? Our country is not defined only by those things. Yes, those things hurt our country's image. They are a stain on our country's past, but they do not define our country. What defines our country is that though we started out with things like slavery, we evolved. We evolved on to equality across the board for every race, every gender. And to the people who want to discount what our founding fathers set up for us, these people who they just want to destroy the fabric America is built on. Nothing more. It's not that something was wrong with it, it's that it's not what they want. And what they want is socialism. What they want is communism. Don't be mistaken here. And they so often are willing to pit people against white men. Even the white women want to put down white men. There's no way in hell I could ever be a Democrat. I started out as a Democrat. But at a young age, I was able to see through the mess that these people are. It didn't take me very long. I think I voted for Democrats in one election, and that was it. And I've been voting every single time since I turned 18. So, they hate everything America is about. From things Obama would say, if you have a business, you didn't build that business. Are you serious? I heard a similar saying by one of the candidates. They said something along the lines of that recently. I wish I knew the thing, but it's just this attitude that they have that they don't believe what we believe. And I used to think that President Obama was not, clearly he's not as bad as these people are. But, he had this perception that certain things about America were bad. And these people are just, further down the line from his way of thinking. They think like him to an extent, but they are more radical than him. In the fact that he wanted to fundamentally change America. So it's something that we need to stop. And we need Democrats to have crushing defeat this election cycle, because I believe it is the only thing that will get them to essentially get their heads out of their asses. So if we want our country back, we want to take our country back, we have to do it now. We can never let them get power back. We need to deliver crushing defeat to them, for them to snap back into reality. They need to realize that socialism will never be accepted by the American people. There are a lot of young people who think that socialism could be a good thing, or they would vote for a socialist. But we have to scream from every rooftop that socialism will never be permitted to exist in this country. Never in a million years, never over my dead patriot body will socialism take hold in the United States of America. So we could tell Ilhan Omar, we could tell AOC, we could tell Rashida Tlaib, go home. All right? Go home, because your time in Congress is a waste of your time. This socialism you're trying to implement here in Congress, and the rest of you Justice Democrats, we're not going to permit it. We're not going to tolerate it. You have no place in our government. You want to have a place in our government? Let's talk about something that's not the Green New Deal. Let's talk about, Democrats came into office. You thought they would have done something with infrastructure. This is something that they could have worked on with Republicans. But pettiness was of more importance. Pettiness is what ruled the day for the Democrats when they took the House in 2018. They talked a good game about health care, but I haven't seen anything proposed about health care. So a day of reckoning is coming for the Democrats, and we need to let them know everything that they have done for the past 3 years is unacceptable. And the policies that they're calling for are completely unacceptable and need to be shut down. And for anyone listening to this, you need to find the nearest person who thinks these are good ideas and tell them why they're not. Don't shame them. Don't talk to them like they're stupid. Explain to them why. Explain to them why a Medicare for All plan that is going to cost us $52 trillion over the next 10 years is a terrible plan. Elizabeth Warren came out with her numbers today. $52 trillion is what it's going to cost for her plan. You don't even have to show me what it's about. That's just not happening. You're going to add $5.2 trillion, which is more than our current annual budget each year. We are going to more than double our annual budget each year for health insurance. That's a way to become a banana republic in no time. And what's so great about this is she even outdid Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders was only $32 trillion. Only 32. His plan wouldn't even double the annual budget. But, $3.2 trillion each year is almost the amount of what we spend annually. But this is what you're in for. Can you imagine if Donald Trump were to lose to one of these jackaloons? If you have kids, you should be scared. Because I'll tell you what, the pendulum swings both ways. If President Trump was to get 2 terms, usually after someone does 2 terms, the other party usually takes over. Just like we had Bush 2 terms, then we had Obama 2 terms, now we have Trump. Maybe he'll get 2 terms, I hope, because I can't bear the thought of living under any of these policies, or living under something from Andrew Yang, where he's just going to give out $1,000 a month to everyone in the U.S. Let's see exactly how that's going to work out. So, if you care about freedom, if you care about liberty, if you care about your children's future, now is the time to act. Not tomorrow. We only have a year. And you can't just think about the president's re-election. You have to think about everything local around you. From your congressman to your senator, from your state senator to your state rep. It is all so important right now. If you can teach anyone who is... There are so many people who are very ill-informed about what it really means to be a Democrat, what it really means to be a Republican, what it really means to be an American citizen in general. I think we need a great awakening in our country. This is a time where we have to all go to the nearest person and explain to them what is on the line, explain to them what the founding fathers have given us, why they've given it to us, why the Bill of Rights is so damn important. Why we can never have hate speech laws. Why we can never get rid of the Second Amendment. And there have been a lot of Republicans who are so willing to give up their Fourth Amendment rights with things like the Patriot Act. But it's time for everyone to rediscover the Constitution and become become a civil libertarian. Because in dark times like this, knowing your Constitution is going to be everything. In fact, people should start carrying a pocket Constitution. Something that shows the Bill of Rights. We are going to have a great fight ahead of us. And all of you are going to need to be engaged in that fight. And you're going to need to fight as hard as you can. Because everything is on the line. This experiment. The experiment that is the United States of America. We cannot allow it to come to an end just because people want to trade away their freedoms for security. Getting free, put air quotes on it, healthcare sounds great. But I'll tell you what, it's going to be a lesser quality. It's going to be rationed. There's going to be longer wait times. And it's going to cost you more. And everyone from the other side would say, no, it wouldn't. But I tell you what, why would I argue against something that would be so good for everyone? Probably because I'm an evil Republican. An evil Republican, you know, and it's my job to be a rich man who keeps the poor man down as a Republican. I guess that's a little outdated, though. Now it's just you're a racist. But it always used to be because you're a rich man. They cut taxes for the rich, trickle down economics. Come on, I mean, this is all the BS they used to serve us. But we got to fight on our hands, people. And just whatever you do, fight for tomorrow. Live as if this is the last day. Thank you very much. This has been the Steve Long Show, and I hope you will join me in the future.